Doctors and nurses of Reddit, who was the dumbest patient you ever had? Family member is a surgeon. Had a guy come to the ER with his arm all torn up. He had gone to shoot the neighbor's dog because it was barking/being a pain in the ass and missed. The dog got his arm and chewed him up good. He's patched up and released. 2 hours later, same guy is back with his other arm chewed to bits. He went home to finish the job, missed again, and the dog got his other arm. Worked as a telehealth triage nurse for a while. Once had a pregnant woman call and ask if she was sleeping with a new partner, not the baby's daddy, if the baby would become her new partner's child, genetically. But she posed the question like this: will the baby be his if he nut in me? You stay classy. Nurse here worked at nursing home and had a mid-60s man in for rehab following knee replacement. Walked in one evening and he was in his bed and had passed away from an unrelated heart attack. Family was called. They came in obviously heartbroken as this was unexpected. They knew he had heart issues but nothing this bad. The man's wife was in early stages of dementia and was upset and saying things in the room like, "Why did you leave me, you bastard?" The age 40-ish daughter pulled me aside, very concerned, and asked me, "My mom is saying some very nasty things, do you think he is still able to hear her?" Trying to be a pro, I thought for a sec and answered, "In the sense that Jesus can hear you, maybe. In the sense that you can hear me, no." She immediately hugs me and says, "Oh, what a relief. I've got one." I was working at an Indian services clinic a few years ago. We prescribe a guy Flonase, nasal spray primarily for allergies, which starts a conversation. "Guy, will this nasal spray give me anxiety like the last one I had?" Me, "This shouldn't cause anxiety, let me check your chart to see what it was you had before." I start trying to find which drug he had been prescribed previously, but he says, "I just threw it away in the trash out front, do you want me to go grab it?" Me, "No, that's okay, it will be in your chart and I won't make you go rummage through the trash." Unfortunately, I don't see any evidence of this dude ever having another nasal spray. And at this point he insists that he is going to grab it from the trash. He grabs exam gloves from the box on the table, smart move, weirdo, and leaves the room. I can't stop him. He comes back a few minutes later with an albuterol inhaler. I'm perplexed. "Can you tell me how you use that?" "You don't need to actually show me, since that came from the trash." Dude tries his darndest to shove the opening, meant for your mouth, into his nostril, gives it a squirt and a snort. So yeah, we talked about the difference between nasal spray and an inhaler. I hope he learned. Not the patient but the family/carer. This point had severe seizures and went into neuro for treatment. Point was discharged 3 weeks later with a revised medication plan. Fast forward a few months. Point came in with even more severe seizures. Upon questioning, we found out that the wife stopped giving the patient the meds because he was getting better and didn't have any more seizure. Young woman comes into the ER screaming bloody murder. The staff reacts and goes to help her, but she says it's not her, it's her mother outside. We go outside but mother is already walking through the doors. She looks like she's in mild pain but walking fairly normally. The daughter is hysterically screaming, crying and literally pushing us towards her mother. Mother denies needing a wheelchair and we ask what we can help her with. Mother says, "I accidentally douched with Drano." Daughter passes out cold. Other staff help daughter and we take mother in the back. Mother basically had massive corrosion in her hoo-ha. I know she went for emergency surgery and lost a lot of organs, but I really don't know what happened to her. We still talk about her and how it would be possible to accidentally douche with Drano. I had an elderly patient once who had fallen and broken her hip, also had some mental health issues, self-neglect, dementia, etc. Following her hip repair, she wasn't really into her physio, at all, and never wanted to get out of bed. She would only use a bedpan, always refused our encouragement to try to get up to the bedside commode. This made us consult social work to get nursing home papers started, as she would have been going home alone with no assistance. She could not understand why we couldn't just get someone to take a saw and cut a hole in her couch under where her butt would be, then have EMS just take her home and position her on the couch. She said she would be able to arrange someone to come empty her bucket once every 1 to 2 weeks, and she would order takeout for her meals. She couldn't see any issues with that plan. One 50-year-old male patient refused to wear pressure stockings in the hospital cause they look gay. He was trying to impress me by being masculine. He was hitting on me the whole shift. Fine. Even though you legit nearly died from a clot and have every risk factor under the sun, yeah, DFS can't wear those gay-looking socks. Not a doctor but live with one. A few months ago he came home and told me he had to argue with a diabetic patient. He recommended the patient stop drinking 2 giant bottles of Mountain Dew per day, because that was one of the major factors making his diabetes worse. The patient said, "No, that's not it. I've drunk this stuff my whole adult life and only got diabetes a few years ago." The guy left insisting his soda habit was fine. My husband said he would probably lose his foot soon if he kept it up. Sad face edit, a word. Dad demands an X-ray for his kid's penis because the toilet seat fell while the kid was peeing. He was sure the bone that makes an erection was broken. Tried to explain the anatomy, no dice. X-ray taken, no bone to break. Thinks his kid has a deformity. Okay, whatever. This is my dad's favorite story to tell. He's worked in ER for 30 years. Sometime in the mid-90s he was working in triage, the first medical person you talk to when you go into ED. A mother with 3 kids came in and stated they all needed to be seen. He asked what the issue was. They were in a grocery store the day before and accidentally got sprayed by water in the produce section. They weren't getting sick. They didn't have rashes. They got sprayed by water 24 hours before and she took them to the emergency room. I had a patient who was 28 years old and smoked heavily. He developed Berger's disease, basically where the small blood vessels usually in the feet and legs slowly close off. It's a rare disease caused by smoking. He came in with an infected foot ulcer due to this and we eventually had to amputate his leg below knee. On multiple previous occasions I'd told him to stop smoking, that it was the only way to stop the progression of his disease, but he kept brushing it off. After this I basically said, if you don't stop you're going to lose your other leg. While recovering from the operation he pushes himself out in his wheelchair to smoke. 2 months later, guess who comes in with an infected ulcer on his remaining leg and ends up a double amputee at the age of 28?